Was there a reconditioning for Dre the first couple of weeks in Colombia? What was your reconditioning? I know part of it was, getting rid, not focus on women so much, but what other areas that you had to work on with reconditioning? Yes, sir.
Yeah, the other reconditioning I had is I was American in other countries. Just like we were saying before, Americans are known for overcompensating. We're the peacocks. That's how we are. And so I had to realize that coming to South, for example, any parts of South America, a man can get the same type of woman that I have or had with a polo shirt, a button down, or a t-shirt. I didn't have to have the Versace fly, look at me, notice me shirt in order to get a woman. I see guys all the time with gorgeous women, guys that are down here that are worth millions in a nice, decent button-down shirt,
Right.
in a nice, clean, well-ironed, well-pressed polo shirt. I see them in the mall with their wives and kids. The wife looks like she's a supermodel. The kids look happy. And the guy is walking in his t-shirt and a pair of jeans on Saturday afternoon.
Right.
So I realized that in order to get what you want, as far as even the ladies are concerned, since we're just using them as a catalyst for this conversation, even the ladies show you here in other countries, you do not have to compensate. And when you do overcompensate, since I didn't have to do that once I got down here, I didn't have to stand out looking like a target for something to happen, or I didn't have to stand out looking like an idiot and women not being attracted to me. Some guys come down here and they want to put on a gold chain, the big old gold. I wear gold in the United States, for example, Kosher. I wear gold in the United States. That's what I do. My gold rings. You can't tell me nothing. A, is unnecessary down here to get the same quality of woman. B, now you're a target. C, the real quality women won't walk with you. I repeat that. You the dude with the gold chains on, real quality of women are going to walk even next to you because they realize that if they're coming for you and I'm standing next to you, they're coming for me too. So the good women, the party girls gonna be with you. But the good women that you really deserve to have, who you deserve to have, they will not be bothered with you. They look at you and look your way, but they'll walk the other way because if the guys are coming to get you, the women know if she's standing next to you, she's gonna get got too. And it's those little things, culture, that I had to realize that I had to leave in customs. I had to leave at TSA in the United States. I couldn't bring that mindset and that mentality over, that American mindset. So that had to be left over. Also, the addictive behavior disorder, even though it's here, I didn't let it be prevalent or control me. Now it's just, like I said, I just use it as being a workaholic now. And then Andrea always had to shut me down and said, "Baby, come to bed," or
come to bed.
Baby,
right.
Let's go to the gym, or let's do. If it wasn't for my wife, I would addictively stay in this chair at least 12 hours a day. But she often saves me from my addictive behavior when it comes to the business side of YouTube. The little things. Let's go eat here. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. So that's what helped me out.
He's telling the truth, guys. He's telling the truth. Because I thought Dre was the vice president, man. I thought I had to call security because I would call him and text him, and I finally got him today, man. So we're doing this show because I want to see you guys win. Dre, we're gonna get deep into it, man. We're gonna definitely get deep into it. I know you got to go at some point, so I want to be respectful of your time.
Take your time.
But this show is important, Dre, because she recovery is an issue that many men deal with. She recovery, some of it is due to how they were nurtured from their mothers. But she recovery also, Dre, is due to the negative imprint or the negative impartation that they got from that first girl that rejected them in high school. And they still haven't got over it, because see, the imprint of a man is through his mind, right? But the imprint of a woman is through her womb. And so men are still, or have still been imprinted. And some might say, oh, this get over. Well, it's not that simple. The mind doesn't work that way. Ideally, you should do it. And from a pragmatic perspective, you should just get over it. But the thing, one of the things I said, Dre, that there are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized. And world travel is one of those things that can more or less break that schema that you're dealing with, Dre, that they're dealing with, but also the illusion of thinking that American women are the only thing that they can have. We're going to look at things straight from what I call class stratification. We're going to break it down. So we're going to start first with the average guy, because in America, many times the average guy is a pariah, the blue-collar guy is a pariah, the educated guy sometimes is a lame. So really, it's the educated thug that gets all the love and the respect a lot of times with some of our women, not always. But what does a good Colombian woman look like, and what can an average man get in Cali, Colombia, if he's looking for a wife? And then we're gonna go average. We're gonna go average to blue collar to professional from those three levels. Okay.
Cool. Now let's not even look at it from the perspective of that you have to be materialistically successful. Let's just talk about just your average dude. You're getting off the plane in Colombia or in Brazil or in Argentina or Chile, whatever it may be, whatever part of South America it might be, and you are looking for somebody to enjoy your time with, somebody positive. Not, we know the party girls. Let's get that out of the way. The party girls are the easiest target. That's low hanging fruit. So we know that they're there. But we're talking about quality women. That's what Kosher and I talk about whenever we get together. We talk about you guys meeting and hanging out with and enjoying your time with quality women. Number two, let's not even talk about the marriage perspective. We're going to put that on the back burner for a second. We're just talking about you meeting a quality person that if you come to Colombia or whatever part of South America and you want to meet that person time and time again or hang out with that person time and time again, what qualities should you look for? Number one, she doesn't have all the time to be with you. I know you guys actually think that the best woman that you could have is a woman that has all the time to be with you on your 5-day trip. If a woman has 5 days to do nothing but to be with you, she is not a quality woman by definition in any country. No Colombian man will sit back and say, I want a woman that does nothing, has nothing going on for 5 straight days. Then why would you get off the plane and expect to be with a quality woman? We're not talking about the party girls, a quality woman for 5 straight days. So if this woman says, I enjoy my time with you when we were hanging out yesterday, but I have 2 days I've got to go to work, but I will see you this weekend. That's the woman that you want. I don't care if you got 3 of them like that, 5 of them like that, you're juggling your time with. At least do not have 1 or 2 that have nothing to do with themselves or no responsibilities. We often said the idle mind is the devil's workshop, and so it is in South America. If it's a woman that has nothing to do, then she's actually plotting and planning, and you might be the next person that she's plotting and planning on. Number 2, when it comes to a quality woman with quality time, her social media. If her social media showcases that she got her butt stuck out every time you looked at her, if that's what attracted you to her initially, when you saw her on TikTok and you saw her on Tinder and you swipe right and you say, goodness gracious, blah, 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 and all her pictures are seductive or are alluring. Remember the old statement, welcome to my web, said the spider to the fly. If she's luring you in with that beauty, and you see nothing that's quality, you don't see her at a birthday party with the family in one of those photos. If you don't see her hiking all this beautiful countryside, she doesn't have one picture of her just hiking with her friends or going out dancing with her. None of those. It's all booty bait photos. She is not quality. Once again, she could be in the fun girl category, and you know what you're going to get from a fun girl. But we're trying to introduce you to quality women. So number 1 is, does she have time for you? If she has 100% time and she's just completely open, you don't want her. Number 2, look at her social media. If what's attracting you to her is the booty bait and the curves and everything, and that's it, then she's not going to be a quality woman. Number 3, numero 3, the family. Who her people is. This is the one that you want to hang out with and want to be with for months. So you're going to eventually find out, I know South America, you're going to meet the family fast. This ain't like the state. So what ends up happening, if you find out that mom don't own nothing, dad don't own nothing, mom ain't got no job, dad ain't got no job, uncle all in jail, everybody on party mode all the time. even if she's a quality person, she still has the qualities of her family.
Mm-hmm.
So if the family's not right, the family, who her people is, in other words, like they used to
Who her
say in the
people is.
South,
Right. Who her people
then
is. Right.
eventually she's going to showcase she's not right. I don't care how nice and sweet she is in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So those are at least three. Now there's more, but we're going to just keep it at three. Those are the three things that you should be looking out for in a quality woman. The beauty in South America is a given. So let's not even talk about beauty. And if you want a party girl, then we understand, you guys, go for your party girls. But if
Right.
you're looking for something of substance and of quality, and I'll give you a bonus, Culture. If for a quality woman in this tradition in South America, tradition, except for certain parts, let's put Colombia tradition.
Mm-hmm.
If she's a good girl, even if she just wants you so bad, y'all had such a great time today hanging out, she still would not have sex with you on the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Good women know what bad women do.
Mm-hmm.
And so to stand out from the flock, one of the things that traditionally, guys, remember, we're not talking about America, we're talking about South America.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, good women in Colombia don't do, you ain't gonna get it the first night. You might get it night 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 12, but you ain't gonna get it the first night, because
Right.
she knows that when it comes to how men perceive women,
Right.
we define them by their sexual prowess.
Yes, sir. Right.
And they know that even if I want you the first night, a quality woman is not going to give it to you the first night,
Right.
because she knows with the women that gave it up the first night, what category they fell into, and they never made it out of that purgatory.
Right. And rightfully so, because that's how it was when, let's be real. When we were growing up, man, women they gave their body their way quickly and freely. They didn't get no respect from men. But,
No,
guys
not one. I can't remember one.
Right. Yeah, they'll play with you, but they ain't gonna take you serious with no woman or wife. Now, some would say, well, if you know a woman and y'all are grown, and I've heard stories of people, they had one night stands and they end up getting married. But
when we're talking anomalies, we go ahead and talk about unicorns. We can always talk about four-leaf clovers,
right,
and pots at the end of a rainbow. And we're going to talk about anomalies.
Right. So let me ask you a question. So can a working class guy, this average working class, so we can go from working class to high earning blue collar, and then professional men. What can the average working class man get in Colombia, and how should he move?
Rules apply for all three, and I'll tell you why.
All three, okay.
Because once you get off the plane, they don't know that you're a blue collar or a white collar. They don't know how much money you have compared to. See, you can be a guy in the United States that's a multi-millionaire. Mm-hmm. It will show, but you can't bring your car on the plane with you. You see what I'm saying? That Tesla, the best thereof, you can't bring that on the plane to show to the ladies. Mm-hmm. Most guys, even the ballers, don't come to South America and even rent a vehicle. So at the end of the day, what they end up having, maybe a driver that they or Uber driver that they paid to drive them around for the day, or maybe they might do. I haven't seen too many limousines running around South America. Mm-hmm. My point in saying that is, it's somewhat of an even playing field. Mm-hmm. Everybody's getting off the plane. Most of us polo, t-shirts, button down. So it's an even playing field. Mm-hmm. So for the most part, if you flaunt or overcompensate in South America, it's because you wanted to do it, because society told you don't need to do it. Mm-hmm. You see where I'm going with that, Culture? Mm-hmm. The blue collar guy looks just equivalent to the white collar guy that looks equivalent to the guy that doesn't have much. He just saved and scraped a few dollars and came to South America. Mm-hmm. Because polos, t-shirts, and button downs, just about every man has it. It's now it's up to your personality. Mm-hmm. It's up to who you are as a person to attract the women. Mm-hmm. If you're a person that's got that outgoing personality, you like to have fun, and you're animated like I am, you attract women that are interested in animated men. But
Right.
there are women that are interested too in aloof men that are kind of somewhat quiet and aloof. And she's the animated one. You know, opposites attract often.
Mhm.
She's the animated one, but you might be the laid back, suave brother. And so at the end of the day, you'll attract a different group of women. But but as I always say, we want to make sure that we attract quality women. That's what you want to have. Quality women. It's easy. Like I always give the analogy, and I use this metaphor quite often. Coming to South America is like going to the most beautiful apple orchard in the world. It has in that orchard every apple you could imagine. The golden apple, the Michigan apple, the Washington State apple. It's got all these the green apples, beautiful apples all around. You
Mhm.
can't miss the beauty of these apples on these trees,
Mhm.
and they're absolutely free.
Mhm.
And so many men get off the plane, Kosher, and they go straight to the ground,
Great to the ground.
and
Right.
they pick a rotten apple because it looked beautiful on one side. They turn it around, and it's full of ants and worms, and they still bite down and chew. Finish off that rotten apple just because it looked good on one part, and they'll walk through that beautiful apple orchard and look down on the ground again and grab another one because it looked good on one side,
Mhm.
turned it over. There were worms, ants, and dirt, and they ate it again. And then they wonder why in South America they keep getting got, why they keep
Mhm.
being a lick, in other words,
Mhm.
because they're not taking the time out to take a deep breath. I'm here in South America. I see all these beautiful trees. Let me start picking from the trees and stop doing what's easy and picking up off the ground.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That's what men do when they come here. They pick women up that are on the ground
On the ground.
because
Right.
they
Right.
look
Right. Right. Right.
beautiful
Right.
on
Right.
one
Right.
side, just
Mhm.
like an apple. I know when I was a kid, I used to pick apples, in Michigan. And
Mhm.
sometimes you want to be lazy and pick up an apple off the ground, and you pick it up, and all of a sudden you see bees on the other side of it. You see ants, you see worms. But when it's facing you, it looks beautiful until you
Right.
pick it up off the ground. But the
Right.
problem is, a lot of guys don't care.
Master Yoda said you must unlearn what you've learned, and these kind
What
of
you learn.
shows are paramount and essential to helping men unlearn what they have learned. Um, what are some of the things that you see, Dre, that you've seen? And I know you've talked about it several times on your show, but to the people on my show that haven't heard it, what are three to five major things? I mean, before I ask you that question, do you have any more questions for me from a psychological perspective that you want to ask me?
You know what? Let's go with your questions because
Okay.
since they're fresh on your mind, the question that you're about to ask, and then I'll
Okay.
ask mine.
Okay. What are 3 to 5 things that you've seen in Colombia that this irks you, man? And I know you talk about men overspending and all that goofy stuff, but far as interaction, far as this anything that you haven't already talked about that you've seen that causes you to cringe every time you see it.
So one of the things that cringes me is how disappointed I am and how insecure black men about being black in countries where black people exist. I'll tell you what I mean by that. I get
Break it
more
down. Break it down.
questions about, and I see this all the time. Do women like black men in UK?
Mm-hmm.
Do women like black men in Thailand? Do women like black? We all know the answer to it. We've heard it 100 times. Everybody in the world wants a black guy, especially if you're African American.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we still, because of insecurities, do women want black men in Colombia? Do women excuse me? Do women want black men in Brazil? Anytime you have to make that statement in black countries,
Mm-hmm.
that goes to show how insecure you are. So that's
Right.
one of them that just gets that irks me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
tired of black men being so insecure about who they are. I understand what's happened to us in the States, but once again, once you cross the threshold into other countries, you will no longer treat it like that. So therefore, stop pretending like you expect that to take place. Number two is, yes, the overspending. We overspend because we are overcompensating. I don't know why we do that. We are going into countries where our dollars are a bang for our buck culture.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you still will see a guy go through $2,000, $3,000 in 5 days. And I wonder, like, How do you go through $3,000 in 5 days when the average Colombian is only making $250 in 30 days?
What does that look like?
In regards to
blowing through money. I know some would say tricking, but
you know what? It may be from I don't know. You know what? I want to tell you the truth. Other than the tricking part, I don't know how you can blow that much money. And this is the part. There's two forms of tricking. Mm-hmm. It is the tricking when it comes to plural and singular. Mm-hmm. Some dudes, I know one guy called me. He wanted to borrow $500, Kosher, because he met a woman down here, had such a great time, was spoiling the woman's family, taking them all out to dinner and just living the life of Riley. Took them to a city, a small town in another part of Colombia, sponsored everything, came back and was running out of money and felt like if I didn't have any more money to showcase the girl, she was going to leave me. Right, that's a form of tricking. Yeah, that's just like the plural form of tricking where you see the guys go for the pay for play. Mm-hmm. So it's not just guys that are going out there with the party girls. Some guys are so busy trying to impress a nice girl that you could have impressed with that too. You could have actually impressed with $250. Mm-hmm. They think that I'm so happy because I met this girl. I got to impress her family. I got to impress her friends. You see where I'm going with that, Kosher? When this person never even asked you for that, and never expected that, and guys come down here and do that. So when I say tricking, I don't just mean just, you going out there partying. You may have never hit one club, not one pay for play, but met one person who didn't even ask you to spend that money, and you're just blowing it. And this dude was so busy trying to impress this young lady, he ran out of money. And then when he ran out of money, he feared, this is the part that got it, Coach. He feared that she would leave him if he could no longer sponsor on that level.
Yeah. He's leading with his wallet.
She never asked him to do that in the first place.
Right. Not only is he leading with his wallet, it's very unattractive, and it makes him come off as desperate. And I see so many men, Dre, when they get into relationships, they don't lead with power. They lead with money and their wallets, and they lead with overcompensating, which in essence makes them a target for being a lick. And if that woman is predatory, she's going to lick you. And you're going to be sitting back looking like an idiot because you don't know how to love yourself. And that's why I think it's so important for men to uncover so that they can recover, so that they don't become a victim of she-covery, which is a veneer that has been plastered over their mind, which more or less impedes them from making good choices based on the schemas and the negative socializations they've been more or less identified with in the past. And that's why, Dre, I thought this show was so powerful and so important. And because I don't want to see men lose, I want to see them win. But not only that, I don't want to see them lose their lives, because you could lose your life, and we're gonna get into that in a minute as well. But any more questions you want to ask me? I
was about to ask you, because I want to go into the directions segment or suggestions. Any suggestions that you might have while a guy is still in the States? You've traveled. While a guy is still in the States, do you have at least 2 or 3 suggestions for him to start the process of she-covery? In other words, recovering past the stage of overcompensating while he's in the States.
Excellent question. So from a clinical perspective, there's a such thing called cognitive restructuring. That's a byproduct of CBT. There are many other treatment models and interventions. Many times when you and I have done shows, we talked about the psychoanalytic model by Dr. William Glasser, which more or less posits that men stand in power, or more or less need power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival. I would solicit, Dre, that they stand in power. One of the ways you stand in power is using a concept called a thought-stopping technique. That's a byproduct of cognitive restructuring. And it basically is synonymous, Dre, to what Christians use. They use a little band, and they put it on their arm, Dre, and this is very practical, and it works. Anytime you feel like you're about to simp, you get a strong, hard rubber band, and you pull it, and you snap yourself back into reality. And then you ask yourself the question, what would she do? What would she do? If you think that she's about to do the same thing that you're trying to do for her, then if she's not going to do it, then you don't do it. What would she do? Do you see my point, Dre?
Correct.
And what it does, Dre, it forces you to remodify that maladaptive process that's going on in your head. It forces you to modify that, because if you don't modify that maladaptive schema, I'm not good enough, she's going to leave me, she doesn't want me, I'm not, I got to perform, then you're giving off simp energy. And as I said before in the past, like Frederick Douglass said, the power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have and it never will. So you should go in Colombia standing in power, but there's a recovery process that you got to do. Secondly, Dre, I would say is for them to journal write and to more or less write down all the bad relationships that they've had and ask themselves the question in those said relationships, what were some of the things that they did that sabotaged that relationship? And then once they find that out, the third thing they would need to do, Dre, is to remodify or re-identify what their value system is. And once they remodify and or re-identify what their value system is, Dre, then they need to create what's called boundaries. I value respect, therefore here are my boundaries. I value masculinity, therefore here are my boundaries. I value financial responsibility, therefore here are my values. And you just stand on it. And the more you stand on it, what you do, you begin to refortify the mental faculties of your mind, which in essence will not make you become a slave to those things, Dre, that have caused you to be subjugated in prior relationships. Masculinity is similar to what the gospel say in the book of Peter. It comes from the word root of the Greek in Peter is Petra. It means rock.
It means rock.
The great teacher and the preacher Jesus said, and the teacher and what I believe was the Messiah, he said this, he said it better than me. He said it to Peter. He said, thou art Peter, and upon this rock you should build your church, and the very gates of hell won't prevail against it. Well, men need to have that same mindset, Dre, when it comes down to dealing with women. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my principles as a man will never supersede your beauty. That's why I tell men, Dre, to never fall in love. And I know it's hard when you're around a beautiful woman with curvy hips and a nice waist, and she's cooking for you, something you've never experienced in America. She's giving you sex, she's, washing your clothes, and she's just doing something, Dre, that is normal in their country. That's just what
Correct.
they do. You don't reward her for normal behavior. What you do reward her for is consistency. And whenever she does some extraneous outside that which is normal, that's when you reward her. Because see, many times the behavior modification, Dre, the target reinforcer becomes very, very weak. So say for an example, say when you met your wife, you took her to a very expensive restaurant in Colombia. So now she's gonna be expecting going to high-end restaurants versus if you just cooked her a meal for good behavior, then you made her slowly earn it, then you're reconditioning her instead of her reconditioning you. What happens many times, the women recondition the men. And it's okay if you make mistakes. I think all men have made mistakes. But you have to own what you've done, because there is no denial in therapy. Once you own what you've done, then you start refortifying your mental faculties with new values and new principles, and you just walk in it. And when you feel tempted to simp, you get that rubber band. And you pull it real hard. What would she do?
Right.
And if she's not going to do what you're doing, then you just don't do it.